Hey there, sports fans. How are you? I'm good, thank you. Welcome to the 10 yards back predictions for the Betfred Super League 2025, round 25, rivals round, down. Rivals round again. No, it's not April. It's just another rivals round, baby. Which I don't mind. I don't mind bigging this thing up on the final charge, rivals round. It's all to play for, and it is all to play for, actually. We've got a couple of games here in rivals round that are actually quite influential, which is good to see. But I love a good rivals round. Someone, Dave Jones on Facebook, summed it up with the best use of this meme I've ever seen in my life. And I think that we can all kind of get on board with. That's how we see rivals round, don't we? That's how it is. Because some of these teams that are playing each other aren't really rivals, but they might be close, might put up a good game, and I'll make a good argument for why we should watch some of these games. If we look at the positions where we have Salford versus Catalans on Thursday evening, quite close in the league. Saints versus Wigan. It's not 3v2. I don't know why it says that. It's 5v2 now. Castleford, Wakefield. These league positions are all off. I'm going to redo them. Anyway, quite influential games. If we look at who's playing here, Castleford, Wakefield, Warrington, Leigh, Huddersfield, Leeds, and Hull KR versus Hull FC. A couple of good games, a couple of influential games. One game in particular where it's literally all to play for. Now, unlike a usual predictions round, I'm not really going to go really into some of these games because a lot of them really, you kind of know what's going to happen, right? So let's start off with Thursday night in Salford. This game is shocking for two reasons. One, I can't believe it's actually happening. And two, I can't believe that Salford actually have the upper hand, or the momentum at least, coming into this game after their dramatic win at the Halliwell Jones over the wankiest wire we've ever seen, as I said already. Yeah, I can't believe this is happening. I feel like this is only happening so that Hull FC can lend Salford all their players at the end of the year, at the end of the season, for them to go on and beat Wakefield and get them into the top six. I feel like that final game, if Salford play Wakey at Wakey, every player's going to have a black and white T-shirt on, except Issam Masters, who is great. So Salford have suffered a bit of a setback this week. Jaden Nikarima has pulled out, and he's one of the originals. He's one of the one left wearing 1 to 13, but he's also very good. I was a bit critical of him during, when the shit was kind of hitting the fan. But then he had a couple of games there where he just absolutely played out of his skin and pulled Salford really, really close to coming back and lifted their spirits. So he's going to be a big miss. Who knows what will happen next year? But this is this year. This is 2025, round 25, rivals round. So Salford have suffered that. For Catalans, now, I would never promote anyone throwing a game. I don't think that you should do that ever. I think you should give your all every game as best you can. However, if a team were ever going to throw a game, this one's it, isn't it? Because Catalans have had a terrible run of form. They haven't won in weeks, I don't think. So the best thing that can come out of this for Catalans is they come over on a Thursday, they batter a beleaguered side, the first win in 8 weeks or so. Maybe I'm wrong on that one. To no fans, there won't be any fans at this game for Catalans, and just break the hearts of 2,000 people wearing red shirts, screaming that their club should be saved. So it's going to be a tough night at the office for Catalans. I think they'll win to the tune of about 24 points to 10. By the time this video comes out, in all likelihood, looking at my schedule, this game will have played out. So, what happened? I don't know. Was I right? Was I wrong? Was it a good one? I don't know. Did the Catalans Dragons players just fuck off after the game because they were so ashamed of themselves for battering Salford. I don't know. That's your Thursday. That's your season opener to Rivals Round. A formerly great game, Red Devils versus Catalans. Now kind of a shell of itself. The big one, though. Let's bring us up to Friday evening. Friday night lights at the totally wicked stadium. Basically sold out crowd. I think there were about 100 tickets left last I checked this afternoon, Thursday afternoon. So, yeah, Saints versus Wigan. Again, these league positions are all a bit off. It's 5v2. Doesn't really matter, to be fair, because it's Saints versus Wigan. These could be anywhere on the table. Really doesn't matter. The Saints have got a real poor team. Not a poor team. They've got a non-ideal team out. So they lost Dagnall for the rest of the season. He's gone. George Delaney is banned. Morgan Knowles suffered an HIA, so he's out. They're just sort of... Jack Welby's back, which might be the worst thing that happened to them in the past couple of weeks, because now you've got this sort of standoff between him and Saylor. Who's playing fullback? Who's playing standoff? Who's playing wing? There was a theory floated by Matt Peat that they should put Jack Welsby at fullback, loose forward, the fullback of the scrum. I don't think Jack Welsby should play loose forward, but it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? I think in a couple of years, same with like Paul Wellens at the end of his career, he played loose, didn't he? So I guess it could work. I don't know if it will. Either way, after last week at Hull KR, we need some really defined roles within that Saints team, because Wigan have 1 to 17 on their team sheet, basically. They've got all the players they would look to field are all there. Definitely numbers 1 to 13 are there. During the course of the season, you've got the likes of Zach Eckersley of higher squad number, but absolute mainstay in the squad. So Wigan have got a good, deep team looking out. Now, you can't really look at recent form with these two sides because, like I've said before, Saints have been battering people and Wigan have had a bit of a rough form. So if we look at the last time they played each other on Good Friday, the Rivals round, round 1, this is how it went. Wigan won in the end, but it was a very, very close game. It was a good game. I think it was 8-0 at half-time. We had 2 tries from Jayfield and 2 from Abbas Miski. That last try was heartbreaking for Saints fans because it was all in the mix. It was 14 or 18. It was next try wins, basically. I know it 10 points looks bad. It looks like it was a bit of a one-sided affair. It was very conclusive. But Saints had the momentum coming into that last 10 minutes. Iggy Passy had just scored an outrageous try. He had no business scoring. We had Lewis Murphy scoring a screamer in the corner. So it was all to play for. Saints had the momentum, they had a bit of a head of steam, and then Tristan Saylor just got caught sleeping at full back. It was during the time he was playing full back, Welsby was playing standoff, and he just let one go, let the ball bounce. It bounced kind of awkward, and French picks it up and passes it on to Miski, and it was a deflating. You saw the energy leave the Saints players' bodies. But it was a very close game, and if you look at this is who they've played recently. Who the both teams. These are their common opponents over the past 9 weeks. So Castleford, Leigh, Huddersfield, Hull FC, Hull KR, and Wakefield. Saints have been beating people by large margins, with the exception of Wakefield, which was the most recent. Saints have been battering people, whereas Wigan have sort of just been beating people, with the exception of Hull FC, who Saints beat and Wigan didn't. So looking at that run of form, you'd say, maybe it's in Saints' hands, but that doesn't matter because they've got Bevan French and Jay Field and Abbas Miski and Liam Marshall and Liam Farrell and Sam Walters, Junior December. They've got all these players playing in the positions they want to, they're meant to, the positions they're paid to play in, whereas Saints don't. And so I think 16-22, about a 6-point margin would be nice, a nice close game on a Friday night where, the weather's kind of turned a little bit now, isn't it? Maybe conditions aren't perfect, maybe you can't play expansively. But we'll see how it turns out. I reckon that's the way this game's going to go. Very happy to be wrong. It would be very exciting if we were wrong, because it blows that top six wide open, doesn't it? Saints vs Wigan Friday night, the real derby. I don't know. Who am I to say? It is. All right, we go to another Friday Night Lights over at it's not the Jungle, is it anymore? It's the One Bore Stadium, a different piping company to mend a hose. But it's definitely still water transport of some kind. So we got Castleford versus Wakefield. The best thing about this game is that the fans are excited for it. And the one good thing about this game is that the fans are excited for it. I think, the context here for these sets of fans is that, this is a derby. It's a Wakefield postcode. There's very close teams. And over the past 10 years, I guess, you'd say 10 years, Castleford have had really good form, whereas Wakefield have probably been in the worst form in their history, except for this year, outstanding, of course. And Wakefield are sick of going down to the not jungle and losing. And so they're really up for this. Equally, I'd like to think that Cas fans want to just show Wakefield that they'll never beat us. You'll never beat us, you little shits. But like I say, Castleford are really, really lacking direction at the minute. I can't see where the motivation or tries are going to come from in this game. It's a small pitch. We all know that. For some reason, that's allowed if you're in Castleford. Wakefield chew up meters, and Castleford simply don't. Castleford over the past couple of weeks averaging probably about 800 metres a game. Wakefield averaging about 1,200 metres a game. So that's big, and it goes a long way on a small pitch. So I don't know what they'll do. They've not got Rowan Mills. For some reason, he's at Salford. Seems like they probably should have kept hold of him. But Wakefield, Castleford, I've got 36-6 on this, and that might be being generous to Castleford's defence there. This could be a real walkover. Again, happy to be wrong. Happy to be wrong about this and see Castleford put up a good fight, but my opinions on them at the minute. They are letting us all down. Average points against their 46. Average conceded 35 points. What can they do? Not a lot, I think. But that doesn't matter, because we've got another game on Saturday that's going to be quite good, I think. So this is Warrington versus Leigh. Now, Warrington haven't got anything to win. They can't get in the playoffs. They can't have one last run of glory. That's gone for them. Okay. Excuse me. I'm suffering from that start of term flu that you get as a parent, where your kid just brings back bugs, and it just gets on your nerves. Warrington have got nothing to win. Their silverware hopes are gone. I said last week, what Warrington can do is just be that annoying team that people are kind of worried about messing everything up at the end. I said that last week, and they went and lost with a full strength side to Salford. Salford's third win of the season. I don't know what happened. Come on, Warrington. The last time these two played each other was really good. I'll show you the stats here. It was at Leigh, and it was that game where Warrington basically dominated for the whole thing, but then Leigh just pulled it back at the end. It was Amila Hanley, 2 tries, and Owen Trout, just 1 try right at the end. Matt Duffy, Jake Hewlett scoring the Warrington tries. It was the 2016 where it was a good game. It was a great game. Warrington just lost it at the end, and that was kind of like the start of the end for him. I feel, they were just a bit dejected after that. It was the score 2016. I just need them to have something, because if you look at who they've played over the past week, the common opponents over the past couple of weeks, it's not crazy, they're kind of, on the day, Leigh are battering people and Warrington aren't. Same kind of similar with the Saints situation, but they can compete. I just hope that they do. I've got 34-14 here as the points, as the score for this game. I've always just got that idea in my mind, that Williams-Duffy axis. Can it happen? My mind says no. My mind thinks, I think that Amila Hanley and Tessie New in the centres there, they're just too good for Williams to pull his tricks, or for Jake Thewlis to get off the mark in the way that he does, or Josh Thewlis for that matter. 34-14 Leigh Warrington. I do think it's going to be good though, or it's not going to be. It can be good, and I hope it is good, because if it isn't, I'm just going to be watching a shit game. I'm just going to be watching my Warrington hopes fade. But that's it. That's your Saturday afternoon opener. Let's go to Saturday evening. Huddersfield versus Leeds. This is kind of a foregone conclusion. I remember I studied at Huddersfield, lived in Huddersfield for about 8 years, and I always wondered why this wasn't a bigger local rivalry. Huddersfield versus Leeds. It seems like it could be, seems like it should be, but it just wasn't. No one was asked about it really in Huddersfield. I don't know if Leeds fans care as much about it as I think Huddersfield fans should, but of course there's only about 500 Huddersfield fans anyway. Seems like a foregone conclusion. Leeds make more than 300 metres more per game on average than Huddersfield do, and they do more with those metres. They score more tries, score more points. Leeds, the one difference here between those two teams is that Leeds do miss more tackles than Huddersfield. So Huddersfield could potentially poke through there, but generally that doesn't matter, because the tackles they're missing are down in the opponent's half because they make so many metres. So I've got 36-6 again. Is that another 36-6 for this weekend? That's just how the numbers fell, really. Leeds versus Huddersfield. I do hope Huddersfield have a good show. I think Flanagan deserves a good show, and Gagai deserves a good show out of this. I don't know if those two players are good enough to stop this tsunami that Leeds can put on people with the likes of Miller. Miller's like it's like a Manchurian candidate, isn't he? He just kind of stands there, and as soon as someone gives him the ball, he's like, "Oh, okay, yep, I'm Miller. I'm the fucking road runner. I'm gonna just find a hole and go through it." And I've already talked about Callum Watkins, Jake Connor, the centres, Hanley and Newman. They're all coming good at exactly the right time, which I think might just be too little, too late for Huddersfield. But again, happy to be wrong. Closing out the weekend, we have the other one true derby in Rivals. I suppose this Rivals round is actually quite good, to be honest. Castleford, Wakefield, Hull versus Hull, and of course, the big one, Saints versus Wigan. It isn't a real derby. I haven't got the same postcode. Shut up. Now, this is I'm torn on this one, because I do want Hull KR to win the league. They deserve it. They've been the best by far. They will do it. I mean, it's very unlikely they won't do it. But I do love a bit of drama. So, in this game, now, Hull KR have been given the opportunity, the cards have fallen, that they've got the opportunity to secure the League Leaders' Shield for the first time in a long time at home against their local rivals. And they could do it in style. The other side of that is that Hull FC have the opportunity to stop Hull KR claiming the League Leaders' Shield for the first time in a long time at home against their local rivals. And so, even though the prize for Hull KR is massive. It's bigger than anything on offer this weekend. The price for Hull FC is pretty good too. Like, wouldn't you just love it? Wouldn't you love that drama? Hull FC stopping them. And I'm just an FC fan these days. You know, I just like the way they play. I like that grit that they've got. I like them just pulling stuff out of their hat. That being said, the Hull KR points difference is about the same amount of points that FC have scored in the past 9 weeks. So that doesn't bode well, does it? You know, if we look at the last time these two played on Good Friday, Rivals Round Part 1, it was an eventful game. We had the first red card of the season, which was unbelievable that it took so long. It turned into a bit of a walkover because of that red card. I think I would have loved to have seen that game without the red, but you know, you can't do that because it happened. I feel like Hull FC have come a long way since then. They've done a lot. They've beat good, great teams in great fashion. You know, they've been a bit of a bogey team. You know, they've been that team that I want Warrington to be, just kind of ruffling feathers down in the middle of the table. On that day, Good Friday, we had Jack Ashworth, Tom Briscoe, and Jordan Rapiner scoring tries. The Jack Ashworth try was lovely. Tries came from Oliver Gildart, Peter Hiku, Artem Moore, James Batchelor, and Jared Wright-Hargreaves scored that crazy diving try where he was like, oh, there's a ball there. And he did like a somersault in the air. You know, all these players will be on the field on Sunday, sorry. 48-20 was the score. 48-20. 28-14 was the score that day. I think today, Sunday, it's probably going to go 18-10. It's going to be an intense game. The weather will play a big part in it. My worry for Hull FC is that for the past 2 weeks, they've done everything right. And like I've said it twice now, if you zoom in on their defensive line, it's great. They're winning the game. No one can beat this defence. But then you zoom out and you're like, oh, how did we get to their own try line so soon? Like, how did they lose so much territory in that epic defensive effort? And that's what they do. Now, looking at the stats, Hull FC excel in 2 places. One is runs from dummy half. They do about 30% more of that. And they miss about 50% fewer tackles, which is obvious to me that that's the case for FC. They can really screw this up for KR FC if they just stay on the front foot, stay pressing, gain territory, and sort of keep them at bay with their defensive efforts and don't lose territory. Because the territory for me, for Hull, is the Hull FC, is the worrying aspect of their game. Hull KR can win every other way. If Hull don't do that, KR can win. So that's why it's 18-10. I think it's going to be a good one. It's definitely one to watch this. Possibly the best one of the weekend. And it's the last one. It's Sunday afternoon. So who doesn't love watching rugby on a Sunday afternoon? All right. So this is what I think is going to happen. 24-10 Catalans take it. 22-18 Wigan take it. 36-6 Wakefield take it. 34-14 Leigh take it. 36-6 Leeds take it. And Hull KR, this is the only home victory I've got predicted this week at 18-10 against their local rivals Hull FC to take the League Leaders Shield and shut everybody up. There'll be terrible banter coming out of East Hull, as is the case all season, isn't it? It's just rubbish. They just don't know how to do it. All right. Thanks, guys. That's my predictions for round 25, Rivals round. I'll be back next week to eat my humble pie and rejoice in the fact that Saints beat Wigan. But until then, guys, enjoy the weekend. Enjoy your local rivalries. And I'll see you next week.